introduce, second reading, and adoption.
We talked about it last board meeting.
Right.
I didn't have anything new to add. I know you weren't here, Tiffany. So, did you have any questions?
Any discussion? Could I have a motion, please?
I move the governing board give second reading and adopt the proposed governing board policy advisory number 403 in accordance with policy BGB.
Second. It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And now we're on to legislative political report. Matt, please.
The first of all, the Arizona Redistricting Commission has been meeting, and I tried to print out maps off of their website using Google Maps, and unfortunately it just came up with these colorful blobs that didn't have any streets on them, so I couldn't quite figure that out. Otherwise I'd have handed them out to you tonight. It looks like for now the commission, and I would never say it's final, but that's my understanding, but they have done the congressional districts. They came up with, and in fact it was in this morning's paper, it was, I think, 4 that were leaning to the Republicans, 2 to the Democrats, and 3 that would be toss-ups, so they would be competitive. And basically you have people of either party could win it in a normal election year. That's generally, in my opinion, a good thing when you have that competition, because it means that our elected officials have to pay attention to us, because it's not something that's automatic, that they are simply reelected. The legislative, well, Creighton is, the way the districts look around the Phoenix area, I would say Congressman Pastor's district is mostly intact or fairly similar. The boundaries change a little bit. It does move a little further south and west, so it looks like a smaller portion of Creighton would be covered by that. Most of Creighton would be covered by one of those new districts that doesn't lean either way in terms of its political party. It's a toss-up district. That would put us in with Ahwatukee, West Chandler, I think Tempe, West Mesa, I think is in that, South Scottsdale, East Phoenix, and then it curves up to taking in kind of the north central area. So Biltmore west to kind of north central corridor.
That would be a quote-unquote competitive district?
Correct.
So Creighton will still be split between different congressmen?
Yes, and then there's probably a tiny portion, just the town of Paradise Valley, I think, which is a little bit of the Biltmore prep attendance area would be in an area with the Northeast Valley that would presumably be Congressman, well, it may or may not be Congressman Quayle's district, depending on who decides to run where. So on the legislative front, there were initially maps that put our legislative district, they looked a lot like Phoenix City Council maps, and that the southern portion of the Creighton district would be put into a legislative district with South Phoenix. Currently, we're generally kept in a district with Central Phoenix. It looks like, and I don't know what they did today, but today was the day that they were supposed to meet to talk about legislative districts. And the latest maps that I saw late yesterday, or this morning, I can't remember when exactly, looked like there was a new map proposal that was more similar to what we have right now, where much of Central Phoenix would be kept in with the east, going straight east toward Abaco Park area, and would encompass the southern portion of the Creighton district, and then the northern portion, I don't recall exactly. There have been a few different proposals that would kind of put that in with, as it is now, District 11, Northeast Valley, or I think there are some maps that have put much of Creighton actually in, again, with South Scottsdale and Tempe. So it's a possibility.
So Matt, just your political opinion. Right now we're currently split between 3 legislative districts and these 2 congressional districts. And in the proposals the new proposals will still be splits. Is that, in your opinion, an advantage to be have access to multiple decision makers, or is it better to, I'm just thinking as an advocate, do I want to advocate for, no, this is our community, we want to report to one person, like have less distributed?
I think there are advantages and disadvantages to both. You could have more people, by being split, you could have more people that have at least part of your district that you can go and talk to and say that there's some overlap. On the other hand, you are diluted to, in each of those districts to the point where you're not a big part of it. And there's no way that with the numbers where districts have to be relatively equal in terms of the number of people in them, not necessarily the number of voters, I don't believe. There's no way that you're going to get a district drawn where Creighton is going to make up the majority of that legislative and certainly not congressional district. Although it could be a sizable chunk, I suppose, if drawn in a certain way of the legislative district. But one of the things that the statute on redistricting that created the Independent Redistricting Commission and was passed by voters in 2000 does is it says that communities of interest are to be kept together, and that's the subject of much discussion what that actually means. And Creighton could be considered a community of interest, but so could Pinal County, which was recently complaining that one of the congressional district maps was going to divide them up into 4 or 5 or something. Maybe it wasn't that many different maps. There was also, heading east on US 60, at one point there was a map going from Arizona Mills there out toward past Apache Junction. You would go through like 4 districts or something like that. So there are a lot of different communities of interest that they're trying to keep together. So whether a school district of our size rises to that level, I don't know, but it does seem to me that although it's how our city council district is drawn, that there's a fairly natural barrier with Sky Harbor, the 202 I-10, where our areas north of that are pretty well separated from South Phoenix. So a lot of times they have all these other criteria that they have to meet in terms of minority representation, in terms of having an equal number of people in each district, of having some political competitiveness, that it's hard to meet all of these goals that sometimes seem to be conflicting. And so I think in the end, basically, we're going to end up getting split somehow.
But I asked because I remember going to a candidates forum where one legislative candidate pretty much dismissed us because we didn't have a lot of people in that district. How do the Attorney General's investigations impact the potential outcome?
That is ongoing, and I really haven't followed it that closely. And then I actually do have a few other things outside of that issue. And actually, Mr. Saragosa, you maybe would speak better to this than I do, but the Arizona House Speaker Tobin has appointed, has created the ad hoc committee on education data systems, co-chaired by Representatives Heather Carter and Kate Brophy-McGee, both from Phoenix. And the main focus is to raise public awareness on the value of a P20, so preschool to graduate school, longitudinal educational data system. And the ad hoc committee, in addition to the co-chairs, the speaker has appointed Representative David Stevens of Sierra Vista and Representative